We're ready to go.
What?
You're listening to Real Crime, the Movie Sleuth podcast.
You're killing the dramatic effect of the beginning of the show, Chris, by doing that.
I'm so very sorry.
No, you're not.
No,
We got
I'm
this
not.
beautiful chick, whoever her name was, who introduces us, and you're like totally going in front of her, and that's just not cool, Chris.
Well, she deserves it.
I mean, she's paid.
Hey, she got paid.
Yeah, she did get paid, actually.
This is a post-Wonder Woman world.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have the power.
Women have been officially proven to be equal to men.
Because of a movie.
It is a fact now.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's a topic in and of itself. Maybe we should just switch gears tonight.
It sure is. It sure is.
Welcome to A Real Crime, number 77.
Yeah.
Fuck.
We're like really old. I'm gonna wear diapers by next week.
What, you don't already?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen you at parties.
I can't wait till we're at 177.
Yeah.
I guess I can wait because I'll have to, because it's literally impossible.
It's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
It's taking us a while to get to 77.
Actually, it has.
Well, this is it's not sporadic, but there's just so much stuff that happens with the Movie Sleuth. There's so many projects going on, like Chris leaving town, just leaving us here on our own. Chris and Michelle leaving us alone.
South by Southwest.
Yeah, just taking off on us and leaving us on the street to fend for ourselves. Why?
I know.
We had to eat
I'm
raw, dead fish that we had to fish out of the
Detroit
broken
River.
I'm a bad dad. I'm sorry. I left you
broken
guys.
roads.
I left you guys to go drink in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, you did. How was that?
South by Southwest was pretty much amazing.
Yeah.
We only got to be there for like 3 full days of the festival. We could have been there for the entire time and not seen nearly half of the movie content that we needed to see.
Yeah.
But literally, like, the Austin Convention Center is 4 times the size of the Novi Convention Center.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah.
They had an entire room the size of the Novi Convention Center that was nothing but poster prints.
Ooh.
It was all artists, hundreds and hundreds of artists with movie posters, comic book posters, video game posters, music posters, everything you could possibly imagine on poster print. So cool. Then they had
original work?
All original work.
Wow.
I mean, table after table after table of original art. And then they had another area of the convention center that was probably 2 times the size of the Novi Convention Center that was all gaming.
Oh my
all
God.
Gaming tech. They had literally rows and rows and rows of like top end PCs set up with hundreds of people playing gaming contests. They had a televised mobile app gaming contest going on. It was just amazing.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing. One of the best things I've ever done in my life, to be honest. And then we saw, in 3 days, we watched 8 movies. We saw Won't You Be My Neighbor, which is the Mr. Rogers documentary. Which
dude.
doesn't come out till June. Totally phenomenal.
Yeah.
We saw Brother's Nest that was by Clayton, this guy from Australia. Phenomenal movie, kind of in the Coen brothers mode of filmmaking. We saw Lee Wanell's new movie Upgrade, which, Jesse, you're going to jizz your pants over this movie.
What I hear of it sounds exactly
is
up my
so
alley.
cool, so cool. Then we saw The Ranger, which was a horror movie. We saw Paradox, which was the first full-length directorial effort from Daryl Hannah.
Oh, yeah.
I heard about
read
this.
your review of that
Yeah.
one. Ooh.
I got to see Daryl Hannah from like 6 feet away, though.
Oh, all right.
She looks like all plastic.
Oh no.
I love her. I've always been in love with her, though. But she's been around for a while.
Yep.
So,
I love Sense8, though.
Yeah. And then we did see
Keep that shit rolling.
The Field Guide to Evil, which was like an anthology film. We saw Fast Color, which was like a really good episode of Heroes, like if Heroes was actually good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then it would actually be like a really good X-Men movie about a black woman that has superpowers and she's been like locked away for years.
Okay.
And she finally escapes. Really cool. Really cool. And then the last one we saw was actually, it was listed as Untitled Blumhouse Project.
Okay.
And it was Unfriended 2.
Oh.
And it was pretty terrible. It was pretty terrible.
You were like,
So-
I'm going to unfriend you, South by
Yeah, I'm
Southwest.
going to unfriend you, South by Southwest. But yeah, all in all,
Unfriend my eyes.
yeah, we ate a lot of good food. I drank a lot of beer. So,
The one video I did see on Facebook Live, is that what we're doing right now? This
yes, it is.
thing right here, Facebook Live,
Yeah.
was of Michelle. I don't know if it was you riding there also, Chris.
Oh, on the
The
bike.
bicycle.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
And just her mug going in and out of the frame.
Yeah.
Going, "Ah."
That guy was cool as shit, though. He was really
that's
cool.
That's a tough job.
That's a tough job.
That was
gotta
just
be
the
strong.
bike he was pulling you on, right?
Yeah.
But
What was crazy is it was me, Michelle, and we met up with Ben Collimer. He was
Oh,
on it
yeah,
with us
yeah.
too. So there's like three of us like stacked in each other on the back row of this
Dude,
bike.
he's just puffing away.
Yeah, and he's just puffing away like it's nothing. I'm like, damn, bro.
Was that the first time you had met Ben?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So we hung out with Ben most of the day that
Nice,
day.
nice.
Yeah. So good stuff. We
had
we
a
went
decent time. Sounds like you had an okay time.
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right.
I would have literally next year need to go for the entire
How
time.
many days is it now?
It's 9 days.
Oh my god.
I was going to say, it's a full week at least.
It's a full week.
You got to plan
So,
that.
It's
That
just
could
gonna
get
keep.
real
It's
exhausting.
just gonna keep growing. You know that.
Yeah.
Like every year, it'll be like another day they tack on. Next thing you
Yep.
know, 10 years from now, it'll be friggin' 10 more days. But it'll be like 2 or 3 weeks. You know.
Well, what's the math?
I nearly
What's the
caught. I
math
nearly
on
caught
that?
myself on that one. I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna screw this up majorly, dude. So yeah, well, I'm glad we here at the Movie Sleuth we're sincerely happy, Chris, that you guys enjoyed yourself. And we wanted to tell you that here live on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We're really happy for you.
Yeah. I'm really happy I went. I needed a vacation bad.
Yeah.
So,
That sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah.
It's-
We walked a lot though too. So,
Well, yeah.
the funniest thing that happened, actually funny story, me and Michelle got kicked the fuck out of an Uber.
How?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. For nothing. They just, I think the guy didn't like that he thought we were a couple.
Are you serious?
I think it was like racism, seriously, because we
What?
got the Uber. It was an Uber pool, and me and Michelle walked
Yeah.
out. We weren't holding hands or anything. Michelle. But,
she was all like, give me your hand.
give me your hands. I'm scared. But
Give me
it
your
was
glands.
this foreign guy, and we did like the Uber pool because it was a couple bucks cheaper. We got in the car, and he
Yeah.
looks at me and he says, "Get out." And I'm like, "What?" He goes,
What?
Get out of my car. And so I'm like, well, I'm not going to fight with the guy, you
Yeah.
know? So I just get out of the car, and then he picks up some other chick from our hotel and leaves. And we were both like, what just happened?
What?
He just threw you out.
He just kicked us out for no reason.
He didn't give you any. He didn't give you any reason.
No reason. Nope.
Huh.
It was weird,
That's
man.
the first time
Maybe
I've
it
ever
was
heard that.
Michelle.
I don't
Well,
know.
it was
I don't know.
I think what Chris is saying is the combination of him and Michelle together.
Maybe it was just he didn't like white dudes.
Maybe.
Why does it got to
He
be
was-
always
Maybe he
about
was
the
jealous
black
because
people?
Michelle's beautiful.
I think
You're
he
like,
was-
dude, fuck
he-
you. I'm mad
yeah.
at you.
Yeah, he was like from India or something.
Like,
so-
he wanted to get a chance with Michelle, you know.
yeah.
And he was
yeah, maybe.
mad because he knew there was just no way he could go up against Chris.
Yeah.
I mean, look at him.
I was like, I'm the Hulk, motherfucker.
Yeah, look at him. You're just beautiful too. I mean, yeah, two beautiful people like you guys falling into an Uber like that. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what? Thinking about that now, you're right. Fuck you guys.
Get out.
You're out.
Get out.
I can't deal with the handsomeness in this vehicle. That's
All
really
right.
that's sucky.
Yeah, it was.
Did you
It
give him
was-
a bad rating?
Yeah, I did. I gave him a 1 star, and I literally said, "Dude kicked us out of the Uber for no reason."
Yeah.
They gave me
And
my
you
money
weren't?
back.
Were you drunk?
No. This was like at 10 in the morning.
Did you have like a needle hanging out of your arm or anything?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, well, there you go.
It was
We
from
got
the
it.
It was from the previous night. You know, I just got taken
I
out.
figured they made a big deal out of nothing.
I mean, come on, dude. Relax. We're just partying. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
That's
So-
fucking shitty. All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Chris.
So in news this week, they're saying that Black Panther is actually going to cross the box office record that The Last Jedi set.
Wow.
Yep. So that's pretty big numbers. It's been
I'm fine with that.
the
I just
number
wanna-
one movie for 5 weekends in a row now.
Yeah.
Just
So-
please crush Avatar, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Please take that off of its ridiculously stupid throne.
Put it out of its misery.
Please, Black Panther.
Not in movie news, but in social media news, Facebook lost $60 billion
Good.
this week.
Good. I mean, no. I mean, we're live on Facebook. We love Facebook.
We love you, Facebook.
Yeah.
But you
Why?
lost $60 billion in stock this week due to the personal data breach.
Yeah,
from
that's
Cambridge
the big
Analytica.
thing going on right now. There's people pulling out and jumping out of windows left and right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty big
Way to
deal.
go, guys. Way to go on your security there.
Way to go there, FB.
Way to lock it down.
The Weinstein Company got a $25 million emergency loan today.
Oh, wow.
Save the company from absolute just bankruptcy.
There's tons of other companies out there. Let's just get rid of this one.
I hope that money's going toward employees that deserve that, because they won't be able to work there.
Trying to make a living.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know what's going on with that, so I can't judge.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So in zombie news,
I don't know.
In zombie news, they're saying that The Walking Dead ratings decline has finally stopped and that ratings have steadied. Which
So they stayed at shitty.
They stayed at
Instead of
I like the show still. Whatever.
whatever.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's
what are
fine.
they on now? What episode, season?
It's like-
Season 8, episode 6.
No, it's more than that because
No
they
way.
took the mid-season break and came back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
So it's
What am I
got to be
thinking?
like 9 or 10.
I thought
Yeah.
the show officially ended like season 3.
Are they
should
planning
have.
on like going so long? Like,
I mean,
are
I
they
think-
stopping at 10 or 9 or
Well,
something?
when the show first came on, they said they wanted it to be like the longest running show of all time.
Oh,
They were going to keep it going, but
Okay.
now I think maybe 10 might be where they're heading
Yeah.
with it.
I'm probably old school on this, but I thought Married with Children still had that throne.
I think so. Well, The Simpsons, though.
The Simpsons
Oh my
is
God!
still
Yeah,
on.
see, that's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. I'm
Yeah.
totally out of that. I know Married with Children for a while there. They were number one like as far as length.
So, last bit of news: Train to Busan is getting a remake, and they're going to do it as a VR adaptation.
What?
Yeah, that's what I just read a little while ago.
Do we know a developer?
I have no idea, no idea whatsoever. Sounds cool though.
Satan.
It sounds cool, but
Could
that's
it be
bizarre.
Satan?
Okay.
What was that? What was that age?
No, it just sounds bizarre. Like, what?
I'm not sure. I didn't look up too many
Well,
details on it. I
actually,
just read about
now that I think about it, with being on a train, that would be incredibly easy to render that very small
it. Yeah,
playing
It's
field.
space.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you could probably boost the graphics up pretty nicely inside of a very small space like that with very minor geometry. It's not very complex.
yeah. So that's my last bit of news this week. New releases are Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yeah,
Scott just left, but
Yeah, I
we can't.
just came
saw
from.
that.
Literally, I'm
Yeah.
smoking from the movie.
But can
still.
we say anything
We
about
can't.
it?
We're
No.
not.
No,
We are
Sorry,
fully
can't tell
embargoed.
ya.
can't see it.
Yeah.
Or I can't say anything about
Yep.
it. Sorry.
Sherlock Gnomes and also Unsane come out.
I'm interested in that one.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
I
which
hope
one?
it Unsane, where the
What is
girl she's checked in. She checks into a psych ward
Mm-hmm.
because she's afraid of her stalker, and then her stalker is like there. So it's really just her going nuts, I think. But
Is it,
it seems really like high intense.
I'm
Like-
afraid of my stalker.
like what kind of intense? Like
Just
visceral, like realistic intense, or
Yeah.
like supernatural
No,
intense?
no, like just like you're going to be watching a mental breakdown, basically.
Uh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I hope it's not stupid.
An American film.
Yes.
Liam,
I don't recognize anybody in it.
Liam said that Unsane was shot all entirely on an iPhone.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
So,
That'll be interesting.
yeah.
All right.
I'm digging that.
Entirely on an iPhone.
Yeah. An iPhone.
iPhone.
My suggested
Interesting.
viewing for this week is going to be Brother's Nest. It's not going to come out for a couple months, but that was one of them we saw at South by Southwest. Again, very Coen Brothers-esque, dark, comic, violent, all takes place in a house. Two brothers are going to commit a crime in this house, and it builds up very, very slowly, and it's shot really, really cool. So, yeah, Brother's Nest is one that I'm going to suggest.
Miss H.
I haven't really watched anything except for
Basketball.
except for basketball.
What's your
and,
favorite game? What's your suggested viewing on the March Madness so far?
This tournament is absolutely insane. It is so bizarre. I am not even able to comprehend what's happening this March Madness. Like, number 1 seeds are being lost from
Up is
16.
down, left is right.
It's totally a Twilight Zone tournament. But
it's the refraction. It's the shimmer.
It is.
It's the shimmer.
I mean, I guess I could say I hope Michigan wins because they're the only ones left in it. But
we're putting all the nerds to sleep.
no. But Duke is still in it, so Duke might go somewhere. But Kentucky State, okay, fine, all right. I love college basketball.
That's
so
awesome.
I could go for seriously an
That's
hour
the
about
first
it.
like suggested viewing of its kind like that.
Yeah.
Sports.
No,
70. It took us 77 episodes, and then we
To get
suggested.
to-
Shut up. Shut up.
I
Watch
would like to-
watch live basketball, guys.
I
Our
would-
suggested viewing from the movie Sleuth.
I would actually like to suggest that everyone catch up on The Alienist on TNT.
Oh, yeah.
Because next Monday is the season finale, and it's really good.
That show looks awesome.
It's
Oh,
really
can you
good.
ask Liam if he's live right now? Can he figure out who the cinematographer for?
Oh no, I looked it up.
Oh, you
It's
did?
like 3 or 4 different dudes. One dude has done Game of Thrones episodes. Nobody did Hannibal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
One dude did.
Fabian
Nice,
Wagner?
Liam. Nice.
I don't know. No,
Hmm.
there's a couple different guys for Game of Thrones cinematography, but yeah, there's another guy's actually credited in some really big movies. So
okay.
yeah.
Cool.
But The Alienist. There we go.
Jesse.
Catch up on demand because TNT lets you do that.
Cool. Jesse.
I don't really have one because I haven't been watching much.
He's been watching me scream at the TV.
What do we watch besides Annihilation? Shape of Water.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna kind of suggest a weird thing. 2 weird things. I just heard of this Polish metal band called Coronal, and they released this music video called Usurper, and it's a really fucking cool video, stop motion, really eerie, like claymation. It'll take you back to like Tool. Those Tool music videos where they had the weird creepy dolls and shit like that. Yeah, really cool music video. So Coronal with a K. The name of the music video is Usurper. And the other weird one, because it's related to Annihilation, I would suggest look up some YouTube videos of like Lovecraftian books, narrated, audio books. Listen to some Lovecraft stuff if you haven't yet. Because we'll talk about that more when we get into Annihilation.
Sweet.
Yeah, okay. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
What you got?
It's actually ironic you said that because we just, on the other show, on Ghostly Talk, the other show, which I don't ever mention here very often, I try not to, we actually just interviewed a gentleman.
Because it sucks.
Well, it's a piece of shit. I know. But we just interviewed a gentleman, and he's basically a Lovecraft researcher. He's a historian.
Nice.
So we had a lot of fun with that. So yeah, ghostlytalk.com.
Actually, I would totally love to listen.
No, it was a
to
lot
that.
of fun. It was cool. And I've kind of been diving back into reading Lovecraft again as a result of that, which I know that's going to tie in tonight.
Yeah.
And you know what? As far as mine, it's been I saw one movie tonight, but can't talk about that. But yeah, the subject
Yeah.
of tonight. Yeah, I really want to talk. I'm excited about this to talk about
Me too.
this film. Annihilation. Yeah, I suggest if you haven't seen it yet, you should check it out. It's
Yeah.
really fucking
I was
And
gonna be
watch it twice.
I was
Yeah.
gonna be that person to be like, well, Annihilation, like that's my suggested viewing, but
Yeah,
I suggested it 2 weeks in a row.
yeah, I know, and now I know why.
And you stuck the hook in me last
Yeah.
week with this. You're like, dude, you need
Yeah.
you need to get in there.
You
and
just
see this
need to
flick.
watch it.
We're gonna dedicate the bulk of this show tonight to discussing this film. I think I don't know how. I guess this was in discussion this week or earlier today or whatever, yesterday. I don't know. If you haven't seen the movie yet, here's your warning.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear about this because we probably are going to dive into the pond a bit tonight.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
deep into the pond.
I
think.
would think so.
And I think people would expect that from an episode that's strictly on
right.
one movie.
Well,
Yeah.
but we keep this to a minimum here.
we do.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty
We're
good at
very
it.
good at it.
Yeah.
But this give me one of those exceptions. And I don't think there's any real reason. I think this is just a really cool movie to talk about because there's a lot to talk about.
There's
with this
a lot
movie.
of
You
stuff.
can't really skimp with this movie.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You gotta.
We're not proclaiming this is the greatest thing since sliced bread,
No.
No, not at all.
but it's an interesting movie to talk
It's-
about.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So Annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
I know I went and saw it last week with my better half. Chris, you saw it like 100 years ago.
Yeah, we went to the press screening and then I saw it again a few days later.
Yeah.
So
I guess if you guys mind if I lead off?
No,
Yeah.
go
Go
for
ahead.
it.
There's a
Roll,
lot.
man.
There's a lot. I know we're gonna be hitting all kinds of things.
Yeah.
I love, and I was thinking about this today, and I thought about Arrival, that film too, right?
Dude,
Which is a
you're
little-
on my path.
Okay,
and
which
I
is,
thought the same thing.
which is a little bit. Yeah, it's a little older. Obviously, it was a couple of years ago now that Arrival
Yeah.
came out. But what I said about Arrival when I saw it initially was, there's hard sci-fi, there's soft sci-fi, and I considered Arrival to be a very kind of soft sci-fi, a beautiful sci-fi, a very nice, graceful, moving sci-fi, as opposed to like other type, harder sci-fi where it's more aggressive. You have battles,
Right, right.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Very poetic, very artful looking, and when I was thinking of like what my ideas were for Annihilation, that did play into that. That there was the same, totally different films. I don't want to leave any impression of that.
the pacing is similar.
The pacing's very similar. It's graceful.
They both use some experimental editing and
Yeah.
sound design and just unique tones that aren't mainstream.
Yeah. Now I've only seen it once. I do want to see it again. 'Cause
Yeah.
this is gonna be a film. This is one of those films I think that you got to buy it too, because I'm going to sit there and when I get obsessed with something, I'm going to sit there and just keep watching it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because great films are like that. You see new stuff every time, and this is I'm 100% certain of that. It's why I want to go back to the theater and see it again. But that was my first, just to get things rolling here. That was my first impression. Is this had the pacing. You're right. It's just gracefully moved along, right? And you know what? Bad things happen in Arrival. Bad things happen in Annihilation, right? Heart-wrenching things, frankly. But I don't feel the anxiety that I feel in some like harder films, let's say, right? You don't feel that tension. I mean, there's tension, of course, but it just seems like the whole thing just kind of plays out like this beautiful just piece for me. And
Right, like a blooming flower.
yeah, there you go.
I'd
Yeah.
read some people who are fans of the book said they're a little disappointed that that factor was dialed down a little bit, that it didn't have that pervasive eeriness that the book did, I guess. That this was but seeing this visually, it seems like it was supposed to unfold in sort of a natural, organic way, not like a structural, like your typical film structure where you have Act 1, 2, 3, etc., and certain kinds of character arcs and all that.
Yeah.
Everything kind of seemed to go in this weird, organic pace. I don't even know how to describe it. It just kind of unfolded
fluid.
as it went in like a
Fluid-like.
free
Yeah.
flowing kind of way. It was really, it was really, what's the word? Kind of entrancing to watch.
Well, I think
And I think that goes along with entering the shimmer.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
Just fucking
Trance-like
say it.
thing
Yeah.
starts.
Well,
like
yeah.
before, it's the pacing up until they get into the shimmer. You just feel like it's a standard first act.
Yeah.
But once they
Right.
get there, it's like, what the hell's going on?
Well, yeah, and that's
You
and
know?
that's exactly like the shimmer, and I think this is going to be something that people are going to, dare I say it, like, okay, I'm going to get beat up for saying this, but when The Matrix came out, and I remember I used to talk to people about this because I think we talked about this like last year. I finally sat down and watched The Matrix because I just was like,
When?
fuck this movie last year.
Oh my God,
Last
Scott.
year.
All right,
I know.
okay.
Total slacker.
Oh, that's fine.
But the reason was I was just when I would watch what little I saw of it, I'm like, I don't like the way this looks. But I would talk to people and I'm like, well, fucking Matrix. They're like, dude, you just don't understand. You don't get the Matrix, man. And the shimmer.
Okay.
I see this same thing happening with that, which is cool.
Oh, right. Okay.
Like,
Okay.
dude, you just don't get. Because I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? 6 days? What are they talking about? Dude, you just don't get the shimmer, man. 'Cause I used to hear that about the Matrix
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah. You're probably right about
The
that.
shimmer is something, that I think there's going to be parts of this one, because I know we're going to be nerding out to this movie for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be something where we're going to be saying that, like, okay, well, there's going to be parts of the shimmer I think that you won't understand.
Yeah.
You
I'm
just
pretty
simply can't
sure
understand.
Jesse and I, after we watched it, even like a day later, we were sitting there trying to come up with. Well, I mean, we were just talking about it and just
Like, what is
like
it?
what is it, and just like, what did you suggest? Or it was that's not the point. The point was that we were just we were still talking about it, even like a day or two later. We were still thinking about the shimmer.
What did
and,
we
like,
watch? What were those strange creatures?
Yeah,
What?
like we kept talking about
What
how
was the shimmer? What, where did it come from? And you kind of see that stuff, and it suggested, it's a very simple suggestion that it is like an alien thing that crashes on Earth and
Well, yeah.
it expands outward and sort of
envelopes everything.
it doesn't like eat things or destroy stuff. It just changes
them.
things.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you could equate it to a nuclear explosion, like when you see what you've seen. I'm sure we've all seen that
Sure.
happen. It's something that hits and then spreads, right?
Well, like Michelle just said, she said the shimmer is cancer.
Michelle
which-
spreads.
Yeah, when we were talking about that before, actually, and then it destroys Jennifer Jason Leigh because she literally had cancer and they didn't want it spreading.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's what makes this movie so cool. I think is just the fact that, like you guys just said, when I left there, my better half's a hard sell on anything nowadays, and we left there, and she's like, I really like that movie a lot, which to me is like, okay, there's something going on, because like I said, she's a real hard sell on anything I like. So she's like, that movie's it was surreal. There was something there I can't put my finger on, and I'm like, yeah, exactly. That's how I feel too. I just. And that requires research. You gotta get in there and get
a lot of people, a lot of my friends of mine that I talk to frequently, all have similar reactions where they're like, "I liked it, but I don't know." Like how it's weird. It's a weird reaction. I really liked it immediately, but I completely understand that reaction because I felt the same way about Arrival.
Yeah.
When I first saw that, I was like, I liked it, but I don't really know what I saw. Like, I don't know how to quantify why I liked it.
I think it's part
Yeah,
of
exactly.
that, what we're so used to seeing, everything's flashy and everything's action packed and everything moves at a frenetic pace, with like Arrival and Annihilation. Both of them just move very slow, and they just give you the details. They just throw them out there, and it's not taking time to explain everything, which is what I like. I like everything not being explained. You want
to wonder.
I want my brain
Yeah.
to start turning and get
But,
those
like,
wheels moving.
Horrible things happen in Annihilation. Some horribly disturbing things you're witness to. Normally I'd leave a movie from watching those images and things that played out in Annihilation going, oh, fuck, man, that was fucking crazy, dude. What's up, man? That was bro. Whatever, right? And I left there you're not focused on that.
Right.
No.
Because, okay, look, like, let's take an example. Like, somebody mentioned Hannibal.
Yeah.
Okay, when Hannibal came out, the movie, the big talk was like, "Oh, dude, you got to see the end. It's fucking crazy, dude. Ray Liotta's head's cut open. It's insane, right?"
Yeah.
Now, and that's all people talked about. It's like it's so disturbing. It's crazy, Now, when I watched the movie, of course, I'm like, okay, it was a big ending, fucking head cut off with me, all our brain exposed and the sack and all that good stuff, and the clock. But like. That movie itself it's a beautiful film too. Like that now I've watched that movie so many times. I don't focus on that. There's a lot more to the Hannibal than just the brain. But that was like the hook to get you in was like, oh, it's the most insane thing you've ever seen. So that was the focus though. Where in Annihilation, I left that, and when I talk to people too, I'm going, like, well, what we're talking about right now. I'm like, well, dude, it's just, like you say, I'm trying to quantify. I'm trying to understand this thing.
I believe part of the
Yeah.
what you're talking, like the aliens sort of approach to, like Marines with big guns and going in and killing the alien thing. Of course, this isn't that kind of movie, and that's probably why it's not doing very well, is because it's marketed very poorly. But oh my gosh, where was I going? Oh yeah, so I think that's Alex Garland was saying, he was arming these women with these guns, and from a narrative perspective, saying, "Look at how useless these tools are."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what he was saying, and that's another critique I had been reading online, because I haven't read the book. That I guess the women weren't armed. They didn't have weapons like that when they went into the Shimmer. They were just
In the book?
Yeah, they were just scientists, researchers. They didn't go in there ready to kill stuff, I guess. So that, I mean, I could be a little bit murky on those details, but it wasn't, that kind of stuff really wasn't in the book, I guess.
Okay.
But I think that was, like I said, just some Alex Garland saying, like, look at it, how useless these mechanisms of the Earth world are, I guess.
Well, and before the women went in there, they had sent military
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
right,
husband.
yeah.
And, that's like a whole nother story that took place before this. But that's kind of like the same thing you're saying.
Oh, right.
The military people were sent in, and they were totally useless
Yeah.
against what's
Those
taking
were
place in
those were
there.
badasses too. They
Yeah.
were supposed to be like tough dudes.
Right. Maybe
like
that's
SEALs,
Garland's
I don't know.
way of just condensing that information for the audience.
Yeah.
Like we didn't get to see that as an audience. We didn't know, really. We didn't see that all
Right.
those military people go in there. So maybe that was just him going, here's these guns.
Yeah.
But maybe that thinking about this though, maybe this adds to the whole experimental, not experimental as in film, but and the characters experimenting with people. Like we know that they sent in this group of badasses, and we saw how that worked out, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's some meeting room somewhere in this story, and they're like, well, okay, well this didn't work. Let's try to send in just a group of women and see what happens, right? Which I do love that. I mean, this is, again, horrible things happen, but this is another one of those great, like we were talking about Wonder Woman and stuff earlier, right? There's some very strong characters in this film. Beautiful, strong characters, whether they made it or not, right? There were some very strong personalities. There's conflict that was going on within this group of people. You learn about this as it unfolds. I mean, and that's, again, adds to this whole mystique, though, too. I'm still, even trying to crank this through in my brain, I'm still going, I'm not getting answers here. Scott's not figuring this out. What the hell's wrong with him? That's what, again, what adds into this whole mystique of this film, though, is that, I don't think we're really going to understand it, man.
I was, again, reading a lot of stuff online before I had seen the movie, about that a lot of fans were finally like, yeah, we got a Lovecraftian movie finally. We've had Lovecraftian films before. Very hard sci-fi Lovecraft, like Event Horizon it has a very Lovecraftian vibe to it. But I think Annihilation really is a pretty strong exercise in Lovecraftian filmmaking, if you could call it such a thing.
Well, the surrealness of it.
Well, yes, totally. Like the surreal nature of the world, the sort of indescribable nature of the creatures and the biology there. Yes, of course. But also the sort of slow, like peppering of teeny tiny little details for the audience, the little morsels of information that you don't know what any of it means, even up until the very end, where the big reveal happens, and and you still have no idea what you're looking at.
No, yeah,
which is so awesome, and I love that when after that scene, the mimic, Lena's mimic creature or whatever they call that thing.
Oh, dude, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was one of the strangest endings I've ever seen. But even afterward, when she was being asked what it looked like, and I was thinking the same thing, like. I have no idea how I would describe what this thing is.
How would you say what that looked like?
That the fact that Alex Garland pulled that off, that he was able to visualize the indescribable it blows my mind.
Well, and that's what really got me as I was watching. I'm like, I'm seeing things I've just never been able to even conceptualize in my own mind at my absolute drunkenness where I have really cool ideas.
Well,
but I couldn't get, I'm like, this is crazy.
This is going to spoil the end of the movie, but the refracted Lena,
Yeah.
the mimic creature, I am 100% positive that was actually her, that she actually changed into that being, and
Probably at the door.
one that left out the lighthouse
was the entity.
copy, because if you pay attention to the end of the movie, the refracted version of her, that like aluminum foil looking creature, walks over to the husband's blown up corpse and pats it on the head like she loves it. Like, you're my husband.
You're right, dude.
Yep. And
Like,
then
she's
when
like, this
Lena
is my life now.
when Lena is trying to leave the lighthouse, if you pay attention, the refracted being like literally slams her into the door to try and stop her from leaving.
Yeah.
She's trying to stop the evil alien version.
I have a
from
different
getting out
interpretation
of the
of that.
lighthouse.
What's yours, Jesse?
When she's running toward the door, the mimic is only doing what she's doing, is trying to get
just
out.
copying. Okay.
So when she goes up to the door, the mimic is only trying to get out too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's exactly what I thought. This is a.
but that's what
yeah.
the film's all about. It's all about self-destruction. Each one of the women have some kind of self-destructive nature that they feel really guilty about, maybe, or like, I don't want to get too into it, but yeah, it's
Well, that's why we're here.
And I think but the mimic creature, I think, is the visual symbol of her self-destruction, her own self-destructive nature.
Okay.
Well, Jennifer Jason, I can't remember, her name was like Verkus or something.
Oh, it was
Vickers Vandermerve.
oh. Why
Anyways.
can't I
Mr.
remember her
Sweetie?
name right now?
Anyways,
Ventress.
Ventress, there we go.
There
So
we go.
before they enter the Shimmer, Ventress and Lena are having a conversation, and she's like, there's tons of ways that you can destroy whatever. She's like, a happy marriage, and Lena gives her this look like, what are you talking about? You know, she's like, I'm a psychiatrist, I can read it all over you, you know. So I think her self-destruction was her happy marriage.
But Ventress also knew.
Well, yeah, because she cheated on her husband.
Yeah.
So
Well,
she,
yeah.
like,
She
Well,
knew
right.
all about it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this everyone has their own little seed of self-destruction. And what was her name? Jennifer, the one that goes first. They're in the boats, and she's talking about how every single person has one thing that brought them to this point, and it was her losing her daughter.
Yeah.
And, so they kind of, it was foreshadowed, really.
Yeah. Well, maybe that means Ventress was purposely trying to feed the Shimmer or something. I don't know.
She's been working
because
at it
she
for
was
3
the one
years.
that like she went down into that freaky hole thing.
I think that the Shimmer, the refracted Lena, it doesn't even. Well, I don't know. That's Chris's interpretation is really neat, but I think what we saw in the video of Kane cutting open the dude.
That was so hard to watch.
I know that was, and then because everybody
Crazy.
the further they went into the Shimmer, everybody kept noticing that they had the Shimmer, the entity in them, because that's what it did. So I really think that when you enter it, you kind of leave with it. So it didn't matter if it was the real Lena or not, because it was already there.
Yeah, they were infected.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you know?
Well, right, like the Swamp Thing kind of idea, where like it's not really refracted later. Well, basically what you're saying is like they both kind of like traded
places.
Right.
Sort of, but they kept pieces of each other. You know.
Well, and that's what they were. The way Lena was explaining the biology of everything, like you can't have the same. You can't cross species.
Yeah, so
And
they
so
created
everything-
two totally unique Lenas.
Right.
Now. Yeah.
And I can't remember her name,
I'm
but
doing weird things with my hands.
but the black girl with the curly hair, she had her cuts, and you could see greenery coming out of her.
Well, yeah, and she ultimately
body.
just became.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like she said, we are it, and it is us.
It
You know,
made her
so
feel alive to cut herself. So that was the I mean, it was a very literal symbol of
Right.
Going back to
self-destruction.
the mimic thing at the end. I mean, that's exactly what I thought, Jesse, was the way they were moving. It was a carbon copy, a mirror image, basically. But it was, whereas opposed to a mirror image that can't touch you. She went to run for the door, and that's what I thought too. I'm like, okay, all this thing is doing is mimicking her movements.
Right.
It just happened to, she runs to the door, it runs to the door also and pins her in.
Well, of course, it's a literal. That's the meaning of the film, right there.
Yeah.
Is the self-destructive nature of humans? Like we kill ourselves trying to save ourselves. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Fuck, man. It's just, I mean, it's not. It's easy to talk about this film, but at the same time, it's like, okay, we're still on this. At least I am going, okay, I'm still trying to understand this damn thing, right?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that's like, oh, I figured the shit out.
No.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it.
And like you were saying with Arrival, that's what's so cool about this is because I've seen Arrival several times and I still go, man, I have no idea what's going on. Like there's so many things that I see that I'm like, wow. And then the same thing with this. Even the music, like the music felt very much the same because in the I loved like the first 25 minutes of that movie.
I want to buy that soundtrack. The soundtrack is so cool.
For Annihilation.
But like when
it's
especially
really
the
good.
piece of music when they're actually walking through the shimmer
It has that
and
weird,
all the
like,
green. Yeah.
That weird like squeaky
But the way
shimmery sound actually.
the way that sounds, it made me feel like I was watching Arrival. Like it gave me that same
that
like
otherworldly like you've just entered a plane you've never seen before.
It made me feel like I wasn't even. It was like a out of body experience kind of thing. Like I felt fuzzy and I was like really like anticipating like what's happening.
Like that first time when they get in that ship on Arrival and that weird fucking
dude,
music starts playing.
Trippy, man.
And I'm like, what? This shit is so just fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's so good. That soundtrack was great.
And the reveal on Arrival too. I mean, I don't want to turn this into an Arrival worship thing, but that reveal was just so cool too.
Yeah.
It was so majestic. It wasn't like, hello. But they
here's
just
our big weapons and guns. We're gonna fight you now.
Yeah, I mean, but they just kind of appeared.
Mm-hmm.
It,
and you
it lets the awe speak for itself.
Well, yeah,
so
and they look. There's nothing that I mean, very unique.
And Annihilation does the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, Chris, you were so right about that man bear pig. Jesus.
Half man.
Oh, because
when it starts, when you hear the screaming outside, dude, I just went, oh shit, what's coming? And then that thing walks into the room, and me and Michelle both looked at each other like, what the fuck just happened? They're about to lay some heavy shit on us right now.
I was both so scared, but so
that was her mimic.
Yeah,
that was her bear. So
I was
like,
so
combined
incredibly
and shit.
like in awe of it. I was like, what am I looking at?
What
Like I
about
was
the
so
alligator,
excited,
though, too?
but I was so scared. Oh
Yeah,
my god,
yeah.
help me! I was like,
The alligator was pretty, or the crocodile, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Alligator. That thing was pretty impressive.
I would say that would be an alligator because it was in the south.
Well, and its snout was shorter too. Crocodiles have a longer snout, I think.
We don't have crocodiles.
I like how that was the first creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was just weird enough. It was like,
Well,
that's an
actually-
alligator, but like not really.
Well, the thing was, and I really would like to, when I saw that the first time, my initial thing was like, I really want to see some stop frames of that. I want to see it when it's opening its mouth. Because when it opened its mouth,
Yeah, you
like,
could see extra stuff.
there was like a shit ton of teeth in
yeah,
it.
it looked like a
And
shark or something.
And it had a fluke throat.
Oh
Remember
yeah.
it had like a circular, like jigsaw-y kind of razory mouth teeth in its throat for a throat. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I'm like, I want to see, and I thought, like, they did kind of look at the thing when they were like, what the hell is this thing?
And I think
They didn't spend a lot
Lena,
of time on it, though.
who was it? Was it the black girl with the curly hair? I
Oh,
can never
yeah, I
remember
forgot.
her
Tessa
name.
Thompson.
That's her name?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's her real life name.
Right, yeah. I recognize her. I just can't remember her.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember anybody's name in the movie, but she even was like, and Lena was looking at it, and they were both just kind of like,
What the hell is
I don't
that
want to
thing?
say anything, so they just shut their mouth. And
Yeah, well, I was hoping they would go into the mouth and look at it a little bit. But they
But
didn't.
they were afraid, they were like,
Well, there was only like
you
one
know.
shot where the thing really like lunges and its mouth opens, and that's when they just fucking
Yeah.
let him have it.
Where Lena just shoots
Yeah.
it. Where'd you learn how to shoot like that?
But yeah, that's just. But again, that's going kind of back into this mystery of it, though, too. Like you see something and you're like, did I just see that? Mm-hmm. And you don't see it again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, I am going to go back when and I'm going to get something. I could probably just Google it. I'm sure somebody's already gotten a stop frame of the mouth.
Well, the teeth are like circular.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah. And somebody said, well, yeah, okay, let's just leave it at that. I don't want to.
But I also like to point out the first things that they really see is rain. When Lena wakes up, she's really surprised to hear rain, and she gets up, and that's when she comes out of the tent. But then they see all those flowers, and that's when she talks about the species and stuff, and then the alligator. But if you go deeper into the shimmer, that's when you get Man-Bear Pig, where it's actually able to use the genetic code of the
greatest
girl
threat
that
to
it
humankind.
killed. So like
Yeah.
the in the
Because when you get
How do I
closer
say it
to
in
the
the-
epicenter
Yeah,
of
right. So
shimmer,
everything-
it's more
it's more
concentrated.
concentrated, right?
like-
So everything
Yeah.
on the outside was still like woo, party central, everything was still just kind of like eh. But then on the very, like you said, the epicenter,
Oh, yeah, it's-
everything started getting
It's much more
crazy.
dense.
And that's when they go to the base and they see that crazy dude that was what grew out of his body in the
yeah,
pool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, and
man.
that's just going. Yeah, you see. I mean, there's a lot of plant life. I mean, we see that. I mean, we talked a bit about that already. But as they go in, it seems like the plant life just gets more vibrant looking. And
It gets more colorful.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. That's the thing that's fucking my head up here. Is like there's so much beauty in this film. There's so many beautiful things to look at. But then there's just this black cloud
Yeah.
over everything also.
These
Yeah.
comments are killing me tonight.
Shut up. Whatever you
These
people are
comments are
saying, go away.
phenomenal.
What are they saying?
I want people to ask us
Come on, bro.
questions.
Let's
we're
hear this
talking
shit.
about Annihilation.
I called it a crocagator. Michelle laughed. I said, better than a cockagator. And then Man Bear Pig. And Carrie Daniels.
My mom. Hi, mommy. That's
I-
my mommy.
I dated
Hi, Heather's
several.
mom. What'd you say?
That's my mom.
Bear pigs.
She said she's dated several.
One
mom.
thing I want to mention before I forget,
Yeah.
when you were talking about the music, was how the music even evolves as the film goes on. It gets more and more artificial. The first themes in the score use acoustic guitar, kind of like the Last of Us soundtrack, kind of like a melancholy guitar sound. Acoustic guitar sound. Then later on, by the time you reach the lighthouse,
It's all bleeps and bloops
when you
and-
get into when Lena goes down into the hole and Ventress goes down there and all that weird fucking fractal geometry shit is all down there blowing up and stuff, and then the music turns into like Arrival and Blade Runner 2049. Like
It's
all
like Aphex
wrapped
Twin
in
was
a-
like,
yeah, all the wows and wubs start going nuts down
Yeah.
there. It's fucking.
There's a
cool.
DJ down
Yeah.
in the bottom of the lake. Yo, what's
Skrillex
up?
is down
DJ
there.
Entity.
We're Daft Punk.
Yeah.
So I think we're not going to get to the bottom of this. I know we're not, but the shimmer, and that's what the
Does the book?
I don't know.
No, because there's two more. I believe there's I've heard there's at least two more books after this.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if they're already written. I don't know if you can buy them already, but there aren't really any answers by the end of the first book, as far as I know. And I like that, and that's Lovecraftian. So it's within genre. So that would be expected.
I don't think there's supposed to be any explanation or answers really, because there's still no answer for us.
Well, that's
You know?
part of why Lovecraft is so effective. Why that style is so effective is because we have to fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it preys on the fears of your own mind and the
Well,
things that you can come up with.
And I think too, and I hate to keep, and this is the last time I'm going to go back to Arrival. And this will transcend all that at this point. It's nice, we've had so many alien invasion films. There's so many of them. And I think a lot of them, while a lot of them, they're fun to watch, they're interesting, they're thought-provoking. I think we're going back to this is a completely different take on this idea. I don't know how to process it still. But that, it got me to be, I went into a very philosophical space coming out of this film because I'm like, okay. Like, for example, like when I was in school and I was taking astronomy courses and things like that, I mean, great professors I had, they were really cool, but I mean, I know I'm going to take shit for saying this, but like, this planet right here, Uranus, I'll say that so we don't have to say the word anus, methane based, nothing can live there. And I mean, I'd hear these things and I'm like, okay, well that's, okay, fine. Nothing from this planet can live
right
there.
There you go. That's the right way to say it.
And I'd have really great conversations with professors and teachers on this. And I don't have much. I wasn't armed with many facts, but I'm going, well, wait a minute. Why can't something else live on that? Whatever we're dealing with here with the shimmer, that's something I'm certain of. Is that okay? This very well it is a life form. But just because it doesn't have two legs and eat food and reproduce and needs sunlight and to grow and stuff like that.
I think that's what makes this movie so dangerous.
Yeah.
Or this concept, because it literally just evolves through us. Yeah. It uses our DNA. Like, that's why I think the beginning part of the movie, when they talk about the biology of the species of the flowers, because that's the building blocks of life. Yeah. So like Plant. You can't, that's what makes it so interesting, because it literally just uses us to branch, like leaves and photosynthesis. Like a tree that's in shade will reach for sun, it's a living thing. So like, it's just so crazy how wild it evolves. Like, I'm sure if the shimmer was to expand even more, what would it do with with an actual pond of water besides the little pond, the swamp with the alligator? What did it do to fish? What is it going to do to birds? Like, there was a few birds in there, but we didn't see them. So like, what were the birds like? What were butterflies going to look like? What are ants going to be like? Like all the little tiny worms. And I went nuts.
No, and
with
that's awesome. That's so cool to think about that. But also to think about too. Now we're gonna get deep now.
Yeah. They see that's where this movie took me. I was thinking all kinds of crazy
that's
stuff.
so great. But what about I mean, everything's based on elements, right? If this thing keeps moving out, what about the waste of man? That's all comprised of elements also, right?
What's going to happen when it's done?
Plastic bags laying on the ground. What's going to happen to those things? Because they're based, while we consider them waste, right, and they're garbage or whatever you want to call them, they are comprised of elements.
Right.
Right? Everything's comprised of an element, something. What would happen to that?
Yeah, I don't know. With
some killer bag comes running down the street and eats you.
It becomes the blob.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, what would this? I mean, that's where, and that, what you're saying, Heather. The mystery of the shimmer is, what is it going to do what's it going to do next? What's it going to do here? Right? When you start going down that rabbit hole, the possibilities are endless.
And now that
we'll probably not get a sequel.
Oh God, I hope we do. Yeah. Maybe we will, but.
The Shimmer takes Manhattan.
Maybe Netflix.
Yeah, it's going to be The Shimmer Goes to Yellowstone.
Maybe Netflix will fund it and they'll run that into the ground like they've ran
because it
a lot of
technically
the originals into the ground.
Yeah. It technically is a Netflix movie.
Yeah, I think they dumped like $50 million into that movie. Something like that. Probably
they kind of fucked this movie, though, the way they did it. Releasing it theatrically in the U.S., nowhere else, and then like 2 weeks later releasing it on Netflix, everywhere.
Except for here.
Yeah, so it's basically, I mean, you can go online and download it right now if you want.
Yeah.
Why? And the movie was made in 2016. It sat on the shelf for 2 years. Why wouldn't they, with Ex Machina being like such an underground cult hit for Alex Garland, why didn't they kind of say, hey, you know what? This movie did pretty well for us. Why don't we release this now and get it out there, kind of riding the coattails of his
It was
previous
like
movie.
complete in 2016.
It was complete in 2016. It literally sat on a shelf. Well, it sat on a hard drive for 2 years.
I wonder if
completed.
it had to do with competition with Arrival, because that's when Arrival came out
Maybe.
in 2016.
I like how
Dude, I love that
Oscar
stereo. It'd
Isaac.
be awesome.
I like
two
how
awesome
Oscar
movies.
Isaac
Yeah.
was still pretty thick in the movie too. Like he just got out of Ex Machina. You can see
that's
that,
true. Yeah.
Man, he is
Yeah.
fine.
Did you guys like the movie immediately?
Yes.
Yeah.
Annihilation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I liked it.
Loved it.
Seriously, it was like it took me 5 minutes. And I think I looked at you and I was just like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's.
I was into it
I don't
right
know.
away.
A lot of. I've been watching a lot of weird shit lately, so I guess I was just kind of ready for like whatever. Like I don't know. I
Well,
don't.
I was curious.
But like,
immediately.
yeah, it had a very strange tone right off the bat, and I was with it because I was like, all right, like
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything that feels like this
Yeah.
before, and it's so. And
I was
anytime
curious.
anytime a movie can do that where it's like make me feel something that it's
Even when after they get in the shimmer and they see the alligator and they're walking into the base, the army base, and then Varys or whatever her name is,
Ventress.
Ventress, Farkas, whatever, she goes off. and then
Furcus.
she goes off and they're like, where'd she go? And then she, they follow her. I was all like, what is she doing? Oh my God, they're going to see her and she's going to be dead. What happens? Like, I was super into it.
So
Yeah.
Michelle just said that it tested bad with focus groups. That's why they held on to it, and they tried to make him change the ending. That's
I heard about that,
What?
but
yeah.
so the ending that we did get is the one that Alex Garland wanted.
Yes.
It
Okay,
appears
good.
so.
Good.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I like how both of his movies end with the sci-fi part taking over the world.
Like kind of getting out into the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what was
Yeah.
what was her name in Ex Machina? The robot, the AI.
I don't remember the name.
Wasn't
of
it
the
like
character.
Elise or something?
Alicia Vikander played the role, but I can't
Yeah.
remember what her name was.
Oh yeah, well she locks him in there and then leaves and walks
Mm-hmm.
around, and then through Kane and Lena it escapes. And I think that it knew what it was doing when Kane was released, when it finally
Yeah.
let him go and look for Lena, and then she would come in there because I think she was smart. She's a biologist, so she was smart enough to understand what is actually happening. And I think the entity saw that in his memories, not really realizing the context wise, but that's why he was sent. The entity opened the shimmer specifically to Lena. Do you remember when he said that he
You
was like,
lost
Damn,
me.
Heather, you're fucking digging
Oh,
on this. No, I mean,
sorry.
it's good.
I follow what she's
well,
saying.
because she's a biologist, so she understands the building blocks of life, and that's what this entity wants. It wants to live. So it's going to use.
The entity sought out Lena.
Yeah, well, he had told her, he's like, make sure you find Lena. And
Mm-hmm.
the entity says, I will. And that's who leaves and comes to the door
Mm-hmm.
because the shimmer opens and he's literally standing right outside of the house and he sees her.
Oh,
That's how he gets home.
holy shit.
That's how he gets home. But I think it was on purpose because the entity knew with more people were going to be coming in and eventually they were going to get to the lighthouse and do something. So the only way to get out was to bring them in and fake its way out.
God, Heather.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
You've
That's
been
just,
meditating on this. Holy
yeah.
crap.
I've only seen it once too. I was into
I have
it.
to see
I
it
really,
again.
really liked
Well,
it.
going back to that point, I said it a couple times, curious. You asked, did you like this movie when you first saw it, like when you first got into
Yeah.
it? Well, yeah, I did, because going back to that, because as soon as I got onto it, I got curious. I'm like, okay, what in the hell is going on here, right? Good film.
Yeah, the camera
really good
work,
film.
even in the first 20 minutes of the movie, the camera work is just.
Well, we've all been, witness to some films where, you hit it and you're like, well, I can already kind of tell what's going to happen here. It's just
Yeah.
painted a different color, but
Oh,
it's the
yeah.
same story. And that wasn't the case here. I mean, and you know what? Myself, aside from a little bit of front loading from Chris with some little morsels here and there, I made it a point not to look at shit.
Oh,
I wanted
yeah,
to go in
yeah.
cold as ice because
Right.
Amber was like, "What's this movie about?" I'm like, "I have an idea, but I have no clue, honestly, and I don't
Right.
want to know. I want to come into this cold as ice and experience this. I don't want to read a bunch of. I'm doing that more and more with films nowadays. Like anything I want to go see in the theater, like The Shape of Water. I had no idea what the hell I was walking into. I had no idea. I had no idea. I totally didn't do any research. I want to go in there and just experience the film, right? Instead of, and we've discussed that in the past here, like, front loading the shit out of yourself,
Yeah.
reading millions of reviews, blah, 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 blah,
Yep.
blah. Well, yeah,
Listening to
Hey,
us
Sam.
babble about the movie before
Right.
you even see it.
Before you even see it.
don't listen to this.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, but maybe this will make people want to see it because it deserves
Dude,
to
it
be
deserves
seen
to
in
be
the
seen
theater.
over and
It
over again.
deserves the
So
money.
cool.
I really think so, and I would love a sequel. I think it would be so interesting to see what the entity does outside of the Shimmer now that the Shimmer is busted and gone.
Well, the one thing I
Go to
really
Denny's.
I really liked about this movie is there are a lot of callbacks to other movies in this too. And a lot of the visuals and the creature elements reminded me a lot of The Thing.
Ooh.
It really did.
Yeah,
was some
the
very-
way
The Thing
everything-
is a Lovecraftian
Yeah.
inspired
Yeah.
film
Totally,
too.
yeah, totally. The use
Very
of gore,
similar.
the use of gore, obviously was very, very practical. That's one thing
Oh.
too. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't.
the
go ahead.
tentacles and the
Yeah.
and the skeletons blown up on the wall and the weird colorful
Yeah,
root
that's what I'm talking about.
patterns
yeah.
and
Oof.
stuff.
I don't really remember seeing very much CGI in this film, to be honest with you. I don't like the man bear pig.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was very convincing.
Yeah, it was
whatever
very-
that was.
Man.
I don't think that wasn't CGI.
Dude,
That's
that
my
thing.
point. That was something. That was a prop. That was a puppet or something they were using because that was very much in the frame. Like it was moving
yeah.
around with them. I'm trying to think now. Possibly the gator. The way that moved.
The gator was
I'm
probably
pretty sure the
CGI.
gator is CGI.
Yeah. But I don't.
For the
really-
most part, maybe.
I think they went very light on CGI in Annihilation.
There's a lot of weird post effects, strange color grading, weird
I was gonna
choices
say,
of color
yeah.
and exposure and stuff that kind of gave it a shimmery, weird
But
color
that
to it.
enhanced. I mean, obviously, that
Oh,
enhanced
yeah,
the hell out of
yeah.
the film. That made that made it look even cooler. Yeah, as I noticed that too. The shimmer. Yeah, the shimmer is just that. Fuck, man, I want to go home. I can't
That's
do
what's
this
so
shit
amazing
out.
Yeah,
about it.
that's
Is
what's
you
so
can't
great.
describe
No, you
it.
can't, you
Alex
can't.
Garland pulled it off. He
He
did
did.
it.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
he made a Lovecraftian film. He
What
made it.
did anybody else look up the books that he's wrote? Because he's credited as a novelist first. Now he's a filmmaker.
Alex
Garland?
Garland? Oh.
Yeah. He's a writer,
No.
he's
They're
a
teaching me
novelist,
stuff.
writer, now director, is what I was reading. So I would really like to read a book that he's wrote.
Well, yeah, we just found out that technically he directed
He
Dread.
directed Dread.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read the full story, but I guess there was some weird thing going on with Lionsgate and the original director of the movie, and Carl Urban said a week ago or something, he's like, yep, Alex Garland was the director of that movie.
So he wrote and directed Dread.
Yeah. So
And
Dread
that movie
is awesome.
rules too.
And
yeah, that
Yeah,
movie's so
yeah.
great.
so
And
we'll
actually,
call
if
him
you think
3 for
about it-
3 so far.
Yeah.
Alex
Yeah,
Garland,
kidding.
you're doing a great job.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all pumped up to watch this movie again now. I have to sit down.
If I didn't
now.
have
gotta
school
get some-
tomorrow, I'd be like, let's go home and watch
Yeah.
it again because I really it's one of those movies where as soon as it ended, I wanted to start it over
Yeah.
to watch it and pick up everything that led up to the ending,
Well,
so
it
I
just
could
goes
really
back
piece it
into
together. Mm-hmm.
that thing where what the hell did I just watch? I don't believe what I saw here. Did my eyes deceive me? What am I seeing here? Am I high? Am I drunk? What's going on? I have to experience that again to
LSD.
verify my own perceptions of what I saw here. I
And
guess.
it's
I
funny.
don't know.
It's funny that it makes you feel like that because even inside of the movie, they did that 100% of the time.
Yeah, they were like,
They
what
were
the hell's
making
going
sure.
on?
Yeah, they were validating themselves as scientists and as professionals.
That's
you know?
exactly what happens in Lovecraft books.
Right. They were doing all of
narrators
that.
are like, I'm a very logical man of science.
Yeah, they were
I
trying
swear."
not to
Like,
lose their fucking shit, you know?
So, all right. I'm leaving here more confused. No, that's
Just
great.
watch it again.
No, we're just going to watch
Well,
it.
because it would be great to hear your take on it after hearing us talk about it from a different perspective than what you had when you first saw it.
Personally, myself, I'm hearing some really interesting ideas here. And I'm also affirming things too, like that I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track.
And
here.
I also love, though, that the visuals weren't like over the top weird, like Doctor Strange weird. Yeah. Not saying that was bad, because I love the visuals in Doctor Strange. They're freaking awesome. But I like that in Annihilation, the visuals were just weird enough, but like based in reality.
They were organic.
To where like you're like, that's weird as fuck, but like
here's what's gonna really
kind of believable.
And
it makes it really eerie because of that, you know?
What if the entity didn't crash on Earth? Do you think it would look different?
Oh yeah, like what would it do if it crashed on?
What's really gonna baste your noodle?
Well, if it crashed on the moon, what if it missed, it hit the moon?
Right, like what would it look like if it was trying?
Well,
to...
it probably
bored
didn't.
as fuck.
It probably sought out Earth.
Well,
they probably
sure,
knew what
of course.
Earth had.
Yes.
It'd be sitting in some crater smoking a cigarette, going, dude.
Look at this. What is this? This
I
is
missed my turn back there at Saturn or something. I don't know.
It would see the American flag and be like, what put this here? Oh, that over there. Look at that. Way better.
Well, one thing, too, I mean, the crash in the beginning, you don't really see what crashed. You just see
a big plume of smoke. Yeah.
You don't really see what
they say it's
there.
a meteor, but we don't see any meteor.
I like that we don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and it was so perfect. It's like access port into the lower portion of the lighthouse. I mean, it was like a perfect circle. It just burned right through there.
Yeah.
Was underground. I mean, the whole premise is just kind of insane.
I guess another thing about that lighthouse part was in the books, I guess that whole thing was a lot more eerie. I guess there was a lot more suspense built up for like what was under there, and I guess that hole goes like a lot deeper underground, and it's a lot bigger of a chamber or something. And it sounds like I want to read the book, actually. And
the more you're saying that, the more I'm like, I'm gonna go grab a copy.
I think because while Annihilation is probably equally as thought provoking as the book, I think the book will
fill in the gaps.
Well, no, not fill in the gaps, but it'd be a lot scarier, a lot eerier. More suspense.
Oh, well, that's what I mean by filling the gaps. I don't mean by like answering questions that you have. I just mean like filling in the gaps of.
Yeah, well, you're always gonna get more detail.
Right. Yeah.
So, all right. I don't know. Do we want to keep beating ourselves up?
I don't care. The more we want to say about it, or we feel like we've done it all?
Everybody's got to see Annihilation.
Yeah.
Yeah, see it. Check it out. It's a good flick.
It really resonated with me, mostly on the biological level, and just all of that. I love, because it's like he said, it was very Swamp Thingy, where everything just ties together. I really, really liked it like that.
One thing that I did notice about it that we did not mention is they really took
Man Bear Pig's penis.
Man Bear Pig.
Oh,
you said really? You were,
I'm sorry. We just had to get dirty one time. We did really well this show.
This has been a very eclectic show. I mean, you fucked it all up, Heather.
I know.
You ruined it.
I'm sorry.
She did it. She did it. It wasn't me or you this time.
What are you trying to say, Chris?
Well, it's kind of funny, too, because, you always hear women talking about how catty they are with each other and how they, argue and can get bitchy with each other. And, like, this movie really kind of showed you that side. It was very natural in the way the relationships progressed with the women, but they were all kind of like, they were catty towards each other.
Yeah, they kind of were.
I kind of blame that a little bit on the madness that they were experiencing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But like just kind of
they were like.
But at least it wasn't. At least it didn't look stupid.
They were all experiencing an existential crisis.
Yeah.
They absolutely had no concept of what was happening to them, and their physiology was probably changing as they were going nuts.
Yeah.
Right. So they're getting more aggressive as they go.
Yeah. And that's even when Gina Rodriguez's character, the paramedic, that's when she ties them all up and she's like, am I going crazy? Does that mean that I'm going to kill you? Like, she's actually trying to figure it out while she's doing that, and then she hears the help me. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? was
The greatest
next?
threat to humankind. Here comes
Man, bear, pig.
I could talk about that bear for an hour and a
I know,
half.
Yeah,
seriously,
we're
that
making light
thing-
of it, but that was fucked up to
Woo.
watch, man. Holy
Here's
crap.
That thing was so scary.
I actually compare seeing that bear the first time. It was the exact same feeling you got the first time you saw the xenomorph.
Yeah.
It
You said
very
before.
slow, very plodding, and it doesn't just burst out. It walks into the room, and you
Right.
see it from behind them, and you're just like, "Holy fuck! What is that thing?" Exactly the same as a xenomorph.
Yeah, well, I mean, and
It
you
exists in the dark, and
And
then all
that
of a
weird
sudden
ass
you get
fucking
your
noise.
and I believed.
It wasn't a weird
yeah.
noise. It was a scream.
Well, yeah,
It was
but
the woman.
I
that it
totally,
killed.
totally believed for
It
a
absorbed
split
her.
second in that scene in the house. Like, they're not getting out of this.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I
really
really
did.
believed that.
Yeah,
for,
I really
like,
did
there's
think that too.
this movie's gonna end. Like they're
Oh.
not getting out of this. They're done. It's over with. This thing is. It's a man bear pig. You don't escape the man bear pig. It's over with, dude. No, but I really no. In all seriousness, I had that feeling. You know, I know reality. It's a film, but getting into the headspace of it, I'm like, they're tied up. The thing just fucked that chick up.
Yeah.
It's over.
yeah,
it's just
but
over, man.
but the bear was also still had.
What? Yeah.
I would assume had some of the mental. I
Yeah.
don't know,
Yeah, I understand.
something still preserved from that
Going,
other
hey,
girl that it
yeah,
absorbed.
we're gonna chill here
because like everything in the shimmer sort of joins together and all that in symbiosis.
But they
like,
remain. I'm sorry, I mean to cut you out, Jesse.
No,
but
that's
that's
fine.
one thing I was, because I did read up on this a little bit, and that was the thing. Like we've kind of touched on that. Like I think Heather or Jesse, you said it. We have these things changing and uniting, but still maintaining some autonomy.
Yeah.
Right. So and that's where I was reading up on some articles, and they were saying like, yeah, man, bear, pig.
I'm so glad it's sticking.
Has united with this woman,
Mm-hmm.
and has these traits. That's why you're hearing the screams. But it's just these pepperings.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a complete like something like the fucking Void. Like recently some completely
Yeah.
insane
Oh.
looking thing with
But
it's
it
all
still
these
has
things.
But it still
That should
had
have been my
it still
suggested
had the
viewing.
bear
Void's a shit.
mentality in the fact that it knew to use that sound in
Mm-hmm.
order to get its prey
That's
because it was still a predator.
that's deceptive
yeah.
too. Yeah, it's using.
No,
its
I know
tools.
for a fact that's what that was.
So it's really only assimilated certain portions of its victim
Sure.
instead of
Sure.
all.
Yeah.
But I
mean,
think
it's
it's because of
peppering.
the entity itself, because it's such a smart and intelligent being on its own, that it knew how to mutate and change as it was doing the bear or the alligator
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
to use what it absorbs in order to survive and move on and keep going.
So you think that there's like a consciousness inside of
Of
all
this
of the
entity?
creatures that
Yes.
that is sourced at the
Entity.
okay.
That's where it
Why
begins.
though?
Because it's just an intelligent being.
Oh.
And it's
Th-
if it
I
has
was
the
thinking,
ability,
is that hinted at in the movie or anything?
No.
Or is that
that's
just like- okay.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that is
Okay.
100%
No, that's cool.
what is happening.
It,
That it's
it has one
using-
mission and one mission only to
to
take
survive.
over the world.
That is
To survive.
it is a one.
like the xenomorph.
It is one with itself, and it just grows and grows, and it is this endless large entity.
and it's going to use the resources in order to keep going and make
Or
itself.
however, I'm sorry, Heather. I didn't mean to
No.
cut you off. Or it isn't that intelligent.
and
It's just something
using,
that's acting on its environment,
yeah.
Yeah.
and reacting
Yeah.
The
in
will
its
to
own
survive.
its own organic nature, and it
Right.
it has a very reptilian type brain where it only knows a couple of certain functions, which are mainly circled around survival, and it's just acting as it acts. I mean,
That's how I
Maybe.
look at
Oh.
it too.
I was-
I look at it as almost like a natural disaster of like a cosmic natural disaster,
Yeah.
so to speak, like a virus of the universe that Earth gets infected
Well,
by.
Michelle did say cancer.
Yeah,
no,
But
that
I
too,
mean,
yeah,
I
that was
don't-
early on.
like
it
it's an
sounds-
indifferent evil. So
And it's
Yeah.
just eating away at
It was
everything.
but it was using. It still sounded like a bear, and it knew to use the woman's voice to
that's-
get that girl to come out there.
that's just
you know?
evolution, though.
That's
Well,
just
that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
just
That's
kinda
why I
hunt.
think it's an intelligent
Yeah.
being, and it's using its resources to
Well,
in
yeah,
order
and
to
because a bear's
make
a hunter.
itself
A bear-
better than us.
Yeah, I mean bears
To
are hunters. They're
annihilate.
natural hunters, and they use what tools
I
they
said
have.
it.
And what?
She said it.
I said it.
What did you say? I'm sorry, I was-
Annihilate. To annihilate. That's its sole purpose.
This way
To
at the
annihilate.
sun. All right,
Watch The Void and watch
the
Annihilation.
voice is shit. We've talked
Watch
about
The
Void.
Thing.
Yeah,
Watch
watch
The Thing.
Arrival.
Watch The Mist.
The Mist.
Watch,
There's another
watch
one,
Chris.
too.
In
Watch
the Mouth
Chris
of
wiggle his
Madness.
arms right now on the camera. Wiggle your arms, Chris.
Watch Reanimator. Just look up Lovecraft stuff.
Yeah.
And get into
totally,
it.
Totally. And you know what?
Because
If
we
you
need more of it.
You know what? I'm going to
Yeah,
throw
we
this out
do.
there as far as Lovecraft is concerned. Also, LibriVox. I'll pimp these guys. They're a free foundation. LibriVox is this really great group of people, conglomerate that takes all public domain works, which
Yeah.
Lovecraft is public domain,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll have people from all over the world who will go and read his books. If the reading thing isn't your thing, and I like a lot of audio books myself. Where, if you go to buy like a new audiobook, that'll cost you $40-$50. They're super expensive, right? LibriVox, all the public domain stuff. Again, like I said, Lovecraft, for example, you have people from all over the world who have taken the time, their time and their money to record these books. And you
Ooh.
can go on there and download them all for free. Super cool.
Oh,
and you can
nice.
put them on your phone or your iPod or whatever the
Yeah.
hell your iPhone, whatever you have.
For free.
Yeah, and I strongly suggest that because there is the Lovecraftian element we're talking about here is very strong. And if you want to learn more about that, if you've never read or experienced Lovecraft's work, time to change that. I think
Do
Yeah.
it.
super important.
Look into the Cthulhu
I mean,
mythos.
Because once you
That's the
start,
good stuff.
once you do so, you'll see it everywhere. It's all over the place.
It is. It is.
Yeah, cool. Dude, I'm burnt.
All right. Well, this was episode.
I don't think we've done this big of a deep dive in a long time.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's
No,
good.
this is great. I'm
great.
super happy we did it. And this movie deserves that. Annihilation deserves that kind
Yeah,
of
it does.
attention, I think.
It was
So,
great.
Totally cool.
Make sure you check out our sponsors, projectorscreen.com and also the Flint Institute of Arts. This was episode 77.
I have a drone
of Real
coming over.
Crime.
I want to look at it with a drone. We're going.
We're going.
We're going to be going there soon.
We're just checking out the roads.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jesse.
And the water.
Nothing. I'm just
Oh,
waiting.
he's
Oh,
just
he's
waiting
waving.
because the
Bye,
podcast
guys.
stops, but the live stream still goes.
Yeah. All right.
Adios, amigos.
Visit us at www.themoviesleuth.com and find The Movie Sleuth on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and iTunes.